is Dwight Doty. I'm the current Assistant Director of Admissions here at Mississippi University for Women. Of course, we were founded in 1884, and we currently stand as the oldest college that supported women during that time. Of course, in 1982, we became co-educational. So now we pride ourselves on being a university based upon a tradition of excellence for both men and women. And we are a 4-year liberal arts public institution.
So let's start in the high school space. We've got a lot of students that will be coming in potentially with some dual enrollment credits from another institution. Maybe they've done an early college program. Kind of talk about what do high school educators need to know in supporting their students that have earned credit while in high school, and how does the W handle that credit and admission process?
Great. So we applaud those students who take advantage of either a massive amount of dual enrollment credit or come from the early college setting. It's almost similar there based upon the number of credits the dual enrollment student will take. However, we are transfer friendly, we're transition friendly, however you want to put it. For the high school student, we still require the ACT and the high school transcript. Um, in addition to that, we need to see those courses the students have taken as part of the dual in credit or early college program. So you do that by sending us that transcript as well from that particular community college. Generally, it's a community college. And when we transfer those students in or move them into the W, they transfer in or matriculate in, I should say, as a freshman still. So they are awarded freshman scholarships, just as any other freshman would be, based upon their ACT and high school GPA. Um, Typically, we're seeing these students being offered admission into Phi Theta Kappa. So Phi Theta Kappa, those students are eligible to receive that scholarship as well as a freshman. And so I had a parent ask the other day, well, my student has way more credits than, beyond the freshman level. They just enter in as a freshman, and we get those credits evaluated by a registrar's office, and then we assign them the appropriate classification that following semester. I personally commend those students who take advantage of that opportunity. The first thing I encourage them to do is to have that conversation with their parents, with their school counselor beforehand, before you even begin the college search. You need to begin to have a clear idea of what you want from a 4-year institution, because by the time that you have taken a massive amount of dual enrollment, or of course, if you confer that associate's degree, it's time to move into a 4-year setting. So what will benefit me most as a student? And look at it from a holistic approach. Typically, those students are fairly young, right? Who graduate from those early college programs. Where are they going to be able to grow mentally, physically? There are a lot of aspects when you want to choose a 4-year degree. It's not so much based upon who gives me the most scholarship monies or who has the best major suited for me. You need to look at it from a holistic view. Have that conversation with the parent, have that conversation with the school counselor, then pick 3 to 5 colleges and begin to visit those campuses, speak with your admission counselors at those campuses, as well as meet with any faculty members who may be available, which is typically more difficult to do during certain times of the year. But I do encourage students to speak with faculty as well to learn more about that major. Well, I think we can break that down to student demographics. I think about the first generation college student who is coming in from a 2-year college. Of course, depending upon where you are, we look at a 2-year college as a place that students begin to build that college foundation. They have um, that extra support system there, probably more so than they would when they matriculate into the university setting. However, it is a misconception that you are alone once you transfer into that 4-year. We're here. We have the Student Success Center available. We have a counseling center here on campus. Your admissions counselors here at the W, we tell our students we do not leave you at the point of admission, where we have a walk-in policy, or open door policy. If we're here, we're available to speak with students and help to continue to coach them even beyond the admission process. Another one is, will I fit in? You know, will I leave a two-year college and fit in a university setting? That's going back to what I spoke about with the high school student. Visit those colleges that you have interest, you know, you're interested in. Get a feel for what's going on in that campus. Do your research. Websites generally have a plethora of information giving you insight to what college life is like at that particular school or university. Do your research. Those are barriers that I believe that we can break at the very point of admission. You are not alone, and we do want you to know that there are resources available here at our universities. We have many students who go in and say, you know, that school just wasn't for me. I want to come into the W. That's fine. That's understandable. We see it quite often. Again, it goes back to being admissible as a freshman. So you would need to send us your official high school transcript as well as that ACT score. We evaluate you as if you were a freshman. If you meet those requirements, then we're able to get you admitted and just transfer in those credit hours that you've taken. The routes for admission for transfer students. We are a very transfer friendly institution. So for the students who have obtained the Associates of Arts degree or the Associates of Applied Science, generally if you have a 2.0 or above, you will send us that transcript and we will have you accepted in a short amount of time. For those students who have at least 30 transferable hours, send us your information as well. We will award scholarship based upon your hours and your GPA. And for those who may be the 1-year students, which we've talked about, who have not reached that 30 transferable hour, you must be admissible as a freshman, meaning that we need the high school transcript as well as the ACT score. And from there, we're able to evaluate you as if you were coming to us for the very first time as a college student. And if you meet requirements as a freshman, then we're able to accept you and transfer your credits in and apply them where necessary.
So Dwight, earlier you mentioned about Phi Theta Kappa. Can you talk a little bit about those scholarship opportunities for students who are members of PTK?
Yeah, so we are PTK friendly as well. We work greatly with that organization. I call PTK scholarship automatic. It's evidence-based, meaning we only really need the proof of membership. And as long as the student has a 3.0 and 24 transferable hours, they're able to obtain that scholarship. Generally, you're going to see students across the board meet those requirements because it's generally higher to even get accepted into Phi Theta Kappa. So you automatically meet those requirements. It's a $2,000 per year award. And then we also offer more monies to those who are on the all academic or all state team. Do it to those who are doing dual enrollment. Your students really take advantage of that dual enrollment process. Make sure that they are accepting that invitation to join Phi Theta Kappa, even as a high school student, because once you're in, you're in. And they receive the same benefits as a student who would generally be coming from a community college. Students who are in high school, I say to you that the ACT score is very important. Generally, that's the time where you're doing your ACT prep, you're taking dual enrollment courses. Those classes are important. The biggest myth is that I can get rid of a dual enrollment course that I took during high school. You know, well, I didn't do great in it. I was in high school. I wanted to transfer into university. Those scores will follow you. They do follow you. There's no way to get rid of dual credit. So I say to those students, be smart, make sure you're staying on top of your work, take your ACT prep, That here at the W, we look at two things when we consider any one of the nursing programs. It's the ACT score and it's the GPA. Okay, so those are two very important areas, and this works for the same, the high school student and the transfer. I would be able to tell you that I encourage students to reach out to the W at least a year before you plan to apply in order to get the most up-to-date information on the requirements and the deadlines. We have several different programs within the nursing department. However, the two most popular would be the Associates of Science in Nursing and the Bachelors of Science in Nursing. And I tell our students that the ASN has an ACT requirement of an 18 and a GPA requirement of a 2.5. The deadline is June 1st. Which is pretty much hard set from year to year, which is why I encourage those students to begin looking into the requirements and obtaining that application at least a year before planning to transfer into the university for that program. The Bachelor's of Science in Nursing program requires an ACT score of a 21 and a 2.75 GPA, and the deadline for that program is January 20th. Same thing, you want to take about a year to get yourself prepared before transferring in. And I encourage students to make sure that you're putting the best presentation forward when you're coming with the ACT and the GPA. Build relationships with counselors, admission counselors, and admission staff at the colleges and universities that your students are more prevalent to attend. It makes it easier for everyone when we know who you are and you know who we are. And it makes the, sometimes the information sending back and forth between one another can be quite tedious when we know when we know who one another are, and we know our operations and how we work. Building those relationships can make that task much easier. So if I can do anything, I would encourage our educators to build relationships with admissions counselors and admissions officials.